Okay, guys, what's going on? So, Carl Frampton, Scott Quigg, they had a fight last night. I wanted Sherry to do the post fight because he was the one who did the pre fight. And I'm going to be honest with you, I expected more from Scott Quigg, a lot more. But this is boxing, and sometimes on the big scale, fighters freeze. Now, I heard that Scott Quigg had his jaw broken. Okay. Having said this, Scott Quigg did, I'm going to say it like it is, what a lot of typical British fighters tend to do. Hands up, punch output decrease, and they just freeze and they don't do anything. I don't know what happened to them, but they just don't fight. They fight in straight lines and they freeze. It's what I saw from Scott Quigg in the first 6 rounds. He was frozen like a statue. He wasn't doing anything. I was not impressed with Scott Quigg at all. Carl Frampton, on the other hand, he, in the first 6 rounds, pushed it a little bit. He used a nice variety of different punches. He was throwing the left hook. He was more fluid. He was very fluid. Scott Quigg was like a robot coming forward. Hands held high. And for the first 6 rounds, I saw nothing from Scott Quigg. I was very, very disappointed. And I don't understand why he's doing this. But it's something that we've seen other British fighters do, is they freeze. Not all fighters, but some fighters. They freeze. It's a very common trait in British boxing. They go there, into the big stage. Usually it's in the States. And when they're there, hands high, and they just throw a 1-2, and they just come forward and plod forward, and you won't see anything else, and all you'll see is them becoming really gun shy, freezing up on the spot, and this is what you see. Whereas Carl Frampton, on the other hand, he was using his nice pivoting, he was bang, bang, fluid, and yeah, not everything was landing. But I mean, if you're looking at the first 30 seconds of a round, and you haven't seen Scott Quigg throw anything, if you saw him maybe throw 2 punches, which will really miss by quite a bit, and then you're seeing Carl Frampton connecting a lot of the gloves, but he's throwing, and he's using some nice footwork. You know, the first 6 rounds, commentating was very biased towards Scott Quigg, because obviously Scott Quigg is an Eddie Hearn fighter. Now, in the latter half of the fight, in the last 6 rounds, Scott Quigg did something. Okay, and he pushed it, and he really pressed it on Carl Frampton, and he gave Carl Frampton some. Now, I'm unsure why fighters from Britain tend to do this, because I haven't seen it as much with fighters from America. It's mainly fighters from Britain. They just don't give it. I don't know what happens, but they just don't give it. And this is what happened with Scott Quigg. He just didn't give it. I think Scott Quigg could maybe have been Carl Frampton had he done what he did in the last 6 rounds from round 1. He started so slow, it took him 5 to 6 rounds to even get started in the fight. For the first 5 to 6 rounds, I did not see where Scott Quigg was. It's a pay-per-view fight, and I don't understand why you freeze like that. I mean, judging from the outside in, it's easy to say that, but I mean, when you're in there, I still think he shouldn't have frozen up. I mean, I've done several things in my life where it's been on a big scale, and I've done stuff in front of people, whether that's presentations, speeches, or whether that's performing in a certain way. I've done different things, right? Even boxing I've done. But I don't tend to, you don't freeze up like that. Yeah, you could be a bit nervous, your timing be's off. Yeah, you can get your, you can make mistakes, but I don't understand why you have to freeze in the manner that Scott Quigg did. And this is the thing now, with Carl Frampton, I felt he was more fluid. I felt he threw the better shots. And yeah, in the later half of the fight, he wasn't as strong as Scott Quigg, and Scott Quigg had the power, and he he made it, he was more aggressive. But overall, I think it was a shot for Carl Frampton. I gave Carl Frampton 2 out of the last 6, maybe 3 out of the last 6. I wasn't scoring it specifically. I scored the last maybe 3 rounds. Out of that, I gave 2 out of 3 to Scott Quigg, and I gave Frampton the last round, I think it was. But I mean, maybe one more round after round 6, and on the first 6 rounds, in my opinion, I think Carl Frampton won at least 5 out of 6 out of the first 6. I mean, so you've got it around about maybe 8 rounds to 4 for Frampton, something like that. You know, that's what I was kind of looking at. I was just, to be honest, with this fight, I was personally disappointed with Scott Quigg and what he did in the first half of the fight. I think he let himself down by doing what he did. Not fighting, not punching, 0 punch output, plodding forward in straight lines, no movement, no footwork, no angles. But you know, it is what it is. Frampton, on the other hand, very fluid. He tried, he went for it. I mean, these guys are light fighters, so you shouldn't have stamina issues in a 12-round fight. Now, if a heavyweight can throw more punches in a 12-round fight than these fighters were weighing like 8 stone, I mean, that's disappointing. You know, I don't think that's I just don't think that's on. I think it's I don't know. I think if you're paying, everybody's paying money for this fight. It's a pay-per-view fight. I think fighters should come in ready and they should go and do something instead of freezing up like that. I might get stick for this, I might not. I don't know, but that's my opinion on it. Scott Quigg, good fighter. Let's see what he does. But I mean, at 8 stone, I'm not really too interested in 8 stone fighters. If I'm dead honest with you, I like Carl Frampton, but in truthful honesty, I haven't seen much of Scott Quigg before. I don't think I'll watch him again. I'm not a huge fan of the low weight classes. Regan Dow, very skillful fighter, would school both of these fighters in my opinion. But as far as Scott Quigg goes, not elite, not the best elite fighter. He's maybe, I don't know what the rankings are in the weight classes, but I wasn't impressed with Scott Quigg. If you're weighing 8 stone, you don't have as much muscle to carry. You should have a higher punch output, and this is just it. This video is, yeah, it's a rant about Scott Quigg, but I mean, it is what it is, and I'm not going to change my opinion. That's the truth. It's reality. I want to keep it real. I don't care what anyone says. Comment section below. Please make sure you subscribe. Let me know what you think about Scott Quigg's performance. Dead performance for him from the first 6. Laugh the fight. Yeah, he put it on. Yeah, he pushed it. But the first 6 rounds, where was he?